A day away from baseball, getting real. The Guardians will play games that count, and that means we're going to tell you exactly what they're going to do in 2026 and how they're going to do it next on Locked On Guardians.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Guardians fans? It's another episode of Locked On Guardians, your only daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians, covering your team every day from the majors, the minors, the draft, and everything in between. My name is Justin Lada. I've been here for 4 years as a co-host alongside my friend and co-host Jeff Ellis, who's been here for 8+ years. And together we have, I think, almost 40 years of experience covering the Guardians minor league system, the draft, all that kind of fun stuff. Locked On Guardians, and we've been here together for the last 4 years. Like I said, this episode is brought to you by MLB The Show 26. Visit MLB.show/Locked On. Use code Locked On to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty, available on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Nintendo Switch, rated E for everyone. So we got a fast-moving and fun show. This is our season prediction show, preview show for the Cleveland Guardians. It's going to move fast, so you're going to want to keep up. We're doing big picture, team floor, what success looks like for the Guardians, the offensive questions we've been asking for a couple of years now, and it's going to be a little bit spicier. We're going to do breakouts, disappointments. We're going to talk about DeLauter and his health, Bazzana's timeline. We'll close that with some hot takes and a lightning round, some over-unders, yes or no's, rapid fire. And Locked On Guardians community, we want to hear from you, so make sure you're commenting along with us to share your predictions. Jeff, are you ready to go? Did you study for the quiz? This was on the syllabus.
I did not. I did not study for the quiz.
It was on the syllabus, Jeff. Come on.
But this isn't really a one. This is kind of like a state test. You can't cram the night before. Either you did the work ahead of time and you're gonna be fine, or you're failing.
This is true.
I have spent a whole off season preparing for this, so I didn't need to cram because I did the time already.
All right. Yeah. Well, don't do the time if you can't do the crime. All right. Nope. Finish this sentence, Jeff. The 2026 Guardian season will be a success if.
Well, gosh, that was a loaded question. If there ever was one, because it depends person to person. To me, making the playoffs.
It depends. No. What is the success to you this season?
To me, it's making the playoffs. To me, that's always the success. Meaningful games, I guess not even making the playoffs, honestly. It's being in it up until the last 2 weeks, like being in contention, getting that chance to chase and run down. There are organizations who have experienced that like once in a decade. We've experienced it like every year in a decade outside of one. It's been a phenomenal run. Hopefully it'll continue. Maybe people will claim I'm setting the bar too low, but I just want to have meaningful baseball. Baseball is a sport where it is harder to make the postseason, even with the additional of more wild cards. So to me, just being in that hunt is a successful season, though I feel like yours will probably be more about development.
I will say make the playoffs as well. The season will be success, make the playoffs. I want to say division title, but it took, some crazy historic run in 2025 to do it. The Guardians have not three-peated in the AL Central since 2018. The Tigers look really good. So given the circumstances, I will say it'll be a success to make the playoffs, but I'm going to add a caveat. I think it'll be a success to make the playoffs. And if we go into 2027, whenever baseball starts in 2027, if we have established that DeLauter and Bazzana are part of the core with José Ramírez in 2027. So that's my version of success. Again, make sure you comment along with us. All right, next up. The Guardians' floor is how many wins, Jeff, and their ceiling is how many wins?
I have so many guys who could get hurt or things could go wrong, and basically they're a Jose injury away from like 65 wins. So I would put the floor at about 65, and I would say the ceiling's about 95. That's about my wiggle room, is a 30-win scenario.
Okay. I'm a little bit more in the middle than you are. I will say their low point is 75. I will say their high point is 90. It's still a big swing, but I added 10 on the bottom and I took off 5 on the top. So I guess a little bit of a difference there. All right, let's move on to the next one. The Guardians were 28th in offense in 2025 by runs scored in WRC+. They were 20th in homers in 2025. In 2026, they will finish where in runs scored and offense?
30th. I'm kidding.
Oh my God! No, that was your final answer.
No,
bubble out and
they were
pen.
28th. I mean, they've got a lot of players, but we have some health concerns, some young guys. We'll see how they integrate. I'm gonna guess 21st.
Wow, I had the same thing.
Both.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 21st in WRC plus. They won't quite be league average. I think we'll see that offense be its best version in the second half when DeLauter is. I think DeLauter is going to
hurt again.
Go. You're done. You're done. I'm gonna do it alone. I'm not. The season hasn't even started yet. I know it's realistic, but come on, we got to have some good juju out in the.
He has never played 60 games in a season. Until he does that,
I know.
I'm just going to assume the worst because that is, that's just the expectation.
I know. I'm saying that.
I'm going to point out that in 2024, which is a very similar team to the one they have now, they were 16th, just as a note in WRC plus, and in runs in 2024.
I know
they were 14th.
That version of the offense though felt like fluky, right? Because it was Tyler Freeman for a month, and Kwan was hurt, and then Noel, got hot. I guess again, we've talked a lot about two rookies having 2 hot months. You're hoping that Chase DeLauter is going to do more than that. I mean, Jimenez was terrible. Lane Thomas was below average. He did have the hot month at the end. You had Noel, who did provide for them for about a month, and you had David Fry playing off, his rocker. So, yeah, I'm going to move it up. I'm going to say 18th. I'll say they'll crawl up to 18th. I'll change my mind when you said that. The biggest thing standing between the Guardians and a third straight AL Central title is
the Tigers.
Finish that sentence. The Tigers. So it's not the Guardian. It's not health.
No, I mean, on paper, if the Tigers have learned from last year, they're a better team. Anything can happen in the postseason. We saw the Dodgers get eliminated a few years ago when the heart of their order couldn't do anything in a short series. Anything's possible, but over the course of 162 games, the depth of the Tigers, what they have with that rotation at the top, at least for one more year. To me, it's the Tigers. Cleveland can be perfectly healthy and still not win this division just because, the Tigers had a strong team a year ago, and they went out and added Framber. Their pen is still shaky, but they also added McGonigal to help balance out their lineup even more. So, I don't think it's anything internal with this team. As long as the Tigers can keep it together, they're the favorites.
Yeah, I was going to be specific and say Tigers pitching because the biggest storyline for the Guardians this year, obviously, is going to be how much their offense develops, right? You got José Ramírez. Is Kwan going to be good for the whole year? Is DeLauter going to be healthy most of the year? Is Bazzana going to come up and be good right away? Can Kyle Manzardo be a middle of the order hitter? Can Bo Naylor finally be a league average hitter? All those things are kind of what the storyline for the Guardians is. I think we have an idea of how the pitching is going to play out. I think we know the bullpen is going to be rock solid, even if it's not
I'm still not sold on that. I got to be honest. I'm not sold on rock solid bullpen.
I think it'll be rock solid. We'll get to this later in the show, but they've had really good bullpens the last 2 years. You're right. It's very hard to maintain that level of success 3 years in a row.
Counting on a lot of guys who have not been good recently.
Correct. But I still think the most obvious thing for the Guardians is offensive development. The whole reason this offseason they didn't want to go out and add anybody who would block or promise, Austin Hayes or Rob Refsnyder, whoever it was. They didn't want to promise any of those guys full-time at bats because they wanted to play DeLauter. They wanted to play Bazzana at some point. There may be other guys that come up. So I think the offensive development is the big storyline, and the Tigers pitching is the biggest thing that stands in the way because Derek Skubal versus DeLauter and Bazzana, 2 lefties. Framber Valdez, lefty. Jack Flaherty is an incredibly good 3-starter, if you ask me. So, yeah, I think it's specifically the Tigers pitching is what stands in the way of the Guardians repeating as division champs. I think the starting rotation will be fine for the most part. But, yeah, that's going to be the biggest storyline all year long for Cleveland. All right, coming up, we're going to get more specific breakout players, disappointments, Chase DeLauter's injury history, what Jeff loves to dive into. How many games can he give this team when exactly Travis Bazzana shows up in Cleveland? That is coming up right after this.
Hey, this is Jeff Carr from Locked On Reds. And I've reached the point in my life where my wife and I are looking toward the future. We've got the house, we've got the career, we even have an awesome dog, but now we need to secure that future. That's where Ethos comes in for us. When I look at this insurance or that insurance and I try to pick one, I might as well be reading an entirely different language. Ethos clears up the noise and gets me set up with exactly what I need, because Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy, and it's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos now by going to ethos.com/lockedonmlb. In as little as 10 minutes, you can get a free quote and up to $3 million in coverage at ethos.com/lockedonmlb. That's ethos.com/lockedonmlb, ethos.com/lockedonmlb. Application times and rates may vary.
What if sports were traded like markets? Now you could put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. You can use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but I never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now, you can actually take part live in a market that's powered by the people. You're no longer just a spectator. You decide, play by play. Trade every play with Robinhood, now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk. It is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant swap firm. Thank you for hanging out with us here on Locked On Guardians, as you do every single day, and making us your first listen tonight every day, wherever you get podcasts. We're happy to be part of your daily routine. If you never miss an episode, you're going to want to check out the Everydayer Club. That gets you access to the ad-free version of the show and the group chat over on Discord with me, with Jeff, the other host of all the Locked On AL Central. The entire Locked On network is over there. There's a channel on that Discord for every single team you could be into, as well as shows. So tap the link in the show notes or go to LockedOnGuardians.supercast.com to learn more. Jeff, true or false? The Guardians will have an outfielder this year that hits 20 home runs or more.
False.
Nobody in this outfield will hit 20 home runs. The last time it happened, I believe, was 2012 with was it Shin-Soo Choo?
Yeah, probably. Brantley never did it.
Choo was okay. It's 2012. It was
Brantley was after Choo.
Let's see, 2014, Michael Brantley hit 20.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's not Kwan, no. And then I can't count on the health of anyone else who's going to get regular playing time, unless, I honestly think in some respects your best shot might be CJ Kafis, even with some of his expanding issues, because he's got health. I mean, we already see Valera is down, and I know everyone gets mad at me about it, but it's like we talk about it all the time. Like, what's the best indication of future health? It's past health, and it's like this stuff keeps coming back. It's why like Byron Buxton has had issues for years. Like that health issue is going to stand out, and I'm not a believer in how many games we'll get out of DeLauter.
Okay, well, that's our next question. I'm going to say 20 home runs. That is a yes. I believe DeLauter will hit 20. If he plays 80 games, I think he's going to hit 20. I really.
You think he's going to hit one every 4 games? That's pretty. I mean, if that was over the course of a season, you're saying he's a 40 home run guy.
I mean, it could happen, but
no,
I don't know.
No,
I'm going 20 home runs. I'm not saying he's going to do it in 80 games, but
you're projecting him to be like a 42 home run guy over the course of a rookie season.
We'll see.
How many 40 home run hitters are there in baseball in general now? And you're saying he's going to do it?
Nick Kurtz
with with platoon issues throughout his minor league career and facing big league pitching.
I'm not saying he's going to play only 80 games. I'm just saying I'm going to say Chase DeLauter hits 20 home runs in this season. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay. On that topic, Jeff, how many games does Chase DeLauter play in 2026?
He's a guy who's averaged about 50. So like I'm gonna say 80. And I mean that I'm counting on him over doubling his performance over the last 4 years to get to 80. That's almost double.
That is almost double. Yeah.
It's basically 80 games is double what he averages per year in health. And again, the scariest part for me isn't that there are some chronic things, but it's also like he just breaks down. Like it's a new broken bone every time. It's a new hurt joint. It's always something different. And that's why, I mean, I feel, and I know people are gonna be like, you're being so negative. It's going to be there, but like, I'm not. I'm doubling what he has ever done throughout his entire career to say 80. That's basically double. Was it like 43, 44 is his high?
59 is his high.
59.
If you go back to college, yeah, 59 is his high. So yeah, I agree with you. I don't think you're wrong. Your logic there. I'm going against logic. I'm going to say 105. I'm going to be very specific. Like that's a lot. I don't know. I'm going to say 105.
He never had 15. His highest in college was 34.
Well, I think 59 was combined from like minor league rehab and AFL. I want to say.
I guess he had 57 in 2023.
So either way, yeah. So I'm gonna say 105. I'm gonna go against logic and say they'll get 105 games out of him. And I know some people will say that's negative too, but it's 105 would be great. If
he hasn't played 105 games the last 2 years combined. He hasn't even gotten. He's played 81 the last. So my guess of 80 is his combined 2024 and 2025 games.
Yeah.
And you
so
think
we're both going out on a limb.
100.
We're both going out on a limb.
I know.
We are. I'm just going out a little further. Speaking of DeLauter, he'll be the 15th consecutive new right fielder to start for the Guardians on opening day. The last time they had a right fielder start back-to-back years in the opening day lineup was Sin Soo Choo in 11 and 12. Hopefully in 2027, whenever that happens, that will be the end of it. All right, Jeff, next question. On this date, Travis Bazzana will be the Guardians' starting second baseman.
I can take my anniversary because that's in June, but we both have June anniversaries. But I'll go June 17th is the number that popped in my head. So I'll go.
Okay.
You're going to disagree with me on this one.
I'm going to go May 8th. That is the first homestand of May for the Guardians. It's a Friday night against the Twins. I'm going to say May 8th.
Bailing that quick. And he would still be under risk of so many things, losing the service time. I'd put him in Super 2.
No, well, yeah, it would be Super 2, but you wouldn't have to worry about service time. The service
you
time
do if he plays well enough to finish top 3 in the Rookie of the Year, and he'd be early enough to be in that situation.
Yeah, I'm going to say that. And that made me think, like, I kind of wonder. I know we talked yesterday about the service time thing. I don't disagree with you on that. I kind of wonder if part of the calculus here about Bazzana not being up sooner is them punting the decision a little bit on, like, what do we do with Rocchio and Arias before we make the call? Like, they got to figure out which one of those they get rid of, or you could option Rocchio down, but if you do that, I don't know what the path back to the majors is for him. Arias is out of options. So I wonder if, like, part of the calculus on the Bazzana decision is we still got to make this decision on who between Rocchio.
No, I think you're right.
No,
I 100% think you're right on that one.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. Who do you think? Speaking of that, so who do you think survives out of those two players when Bazzana comes up? Because both of these going to be up this year, so which means one of those two will not have a job when he does come up. If that's June 17th or May 8th.
I mean, all the sign posts point to Rocchio. Like they've been a little more consistent in their praise of Rocchio of the two. I personally, I think they're about the same player offensively, so I'll take Arias's much stellar defense and arm, but I know that's not their case. I mean, they literally had the same WRC plus a year ago. They're just the same level of hitter. They're both ineffective starters with, good defensive profile. I think they'll go with Rocchio. I know 2 years ago, the defensive metrics on him were good, but you and I both eye tested him that year. We're not the biggest fan his first full year at shortstop. So I just don't, especially because, Bazzana doesn't have the strongest arm. And he makes okay, like at best he's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. So like putting a guy who is an okay short, like I'd rather just have the plus shortstop to help cover Bazzana a little bit more. But I think they have signposted that it's Rocchio.
I think it's just Rocchio simply for the fact that he has options. I don't think they'll take away the fact that they need options because they don't have any shortstop depth, Jeff. Like if they got rid of Rocchio, they could keep Arias, but after Arias, it's Schneemann or Milan Tolentino at shortstop. So
Schneeman's metrics aren't bad defensively. I'll say that. They were better than Rocchio's a year ago.
Yeah. All right. Travis Bazzana and or will get Rookie of the Year votes or win Rookie of the Year. So this is either one. One of them, at least one of them, will get Rookie of the Year votes or win Rookie of the Year. True or false?
Bazzana and DeLauter. Was that
the
combination?
Well, one of the two. It doesn't matter if they both do. One of them.
I mean, I think they'll get votes. I'm not betting on them winning because we just mentioned the other guy. Like McGonigal's gotten all the run in camp. McGonigal is the number 2 prospect in baseball. He's got a clear pathway. He's got a better health record. He's going to be up from the start. He's going to be on a team everyone's paying attention to. I think it's McGonigal's award to lose starting, day one. So I think votes for. And then we'll see, maybe McGonigal falls flat on his face. Not everyone works out from the beginning. Everyone thought, I voted Christian Campbell a year ago and we saw how that turned out. So,
I voted Roman Anthony and that didn't work out, but he was not.
Well, I mean, if he had been healthy, he probably still couldn't have won it even with the year Kurtz was having, but he would have been higher up. But I mean, it's Rookie of the Year is always a weird award. Let's be honest. It's probably the weirdest award. Like it just, it's hard to judge,
unless you have a Paul Skeens or Bryce Harper, it's very hard to dictate those awards. All right, coming up, we've got things getting a little bit spicier. We've got awards, breakouts, all-stars, disappointments, and we got to get to the pitching side of the predictions on the rest of today's Locked On Guardians. The tournament is here. One of the best times of the year. Bracket busters, buzzer beaters, upsets, frustration, nonstop action from tip to final net cut down. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a way to stay in the action all tournament long. Here's the best part. You're going to get up to $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days. That means 10 chances to stay involved throughout the tournament. Mix it up how you want. Do game picks, futures, same game parlays for bigger potential payouts. And it's great because if your bracket goes busted early on like mine did, you stay in it throughout the brackets as the tournament unfolds. Looking over at the Guardians, though, the Guardians still are opening as a 78.5 wins on FanDuel over under. I'm still taking the over. They open up as a 1.5 run dog to the Mariners with an over under of 6.5. I think I'm taking the over on that one. I think we'll see a 4-3 game. Visit FanDuel.com to sign up today. That's FanDuel.com to get in on the action. And I am thrilled to be talking about our sponsor, MLB The Show. It's my favorite video game franchise of all time. Been playing it since I was, 15 years old, younger. Baseball fans, if you are playing it, you're going to have a hard time putting it down, honestly. I've been playing in franchise mode for as long as I can remember, but I've also gotten into Diamond Dynasty over the years with my friends. Road to the Show is improved every single year. I love the additions there. And, I got my copy right here. The World Baseball Classic challenges being in here is fantastic. You guys know how much I love the World Baseball Classic. So the fact that it's in this game warms my heart. I can't wait to play those moments. If you're a gamer or a baseball fan or just want to enjoy America's favorite pastime in a new and exciting way, you're going to love MLB The Show 26. Play as your favorite team, your franchise players. See if you could win your own World Series. Use code LOCKEDON at MLBThe.show/LockedOn to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. MLB The Show 26 is available now on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, Nintendo Switch, and it's rated E for everyone. Shout out to all the everydayers, the insiders, the everyday commenters on YouTube.
All the first listeners.
All the first listeners, yes, who are, if you're chatting with us on Discord, if you're listening on YouTube or one of your favorite audio platforms, make sure you are auto-downloading or adding notifications to your phone so you find out when the episodes go live. And on YouTube, we'll have reaction videos to news every single game. So you want to make sure you get those sent to your phone right away before we go live. And you can check out the subtext group too. Maybe you're not into group chats. Maybe you just want some alerts sent to your phone about news, or want to get in the insiders chat, which is happening tonight at 8:30 as we do our fantasy draft. That is joinsubtext.com/LockedOnGuardians if you want to tap in over there on that. All right, Jeff, we got to rapid fire this final segment, get all these questions out of the way. So this is going to be quick. And if you're commenting along to give us your predictions, you want to move fast and keep up. So first one, Jeff, Stephen Kwan's gold glove streak will continue in 2026. True or false?
I think it will, but I think it's going to continue not as a left fielder. It's going to continue in that utility glove situation since he'll be playing multiple positions, one of the things I haven't seen talked about is, the old utility. Everyone knows about Stephen Kwan. Everyone's going to vote for him, but I think he will qualify as a utility player in that kind of role. Like, I know Brendan Donovan's won that award. I was trying to think who else has won it recently. But I think he will win it in that spot, not in left field.
Ooh, that's such a good answer. I'm going to steal it because I was originally going to say false. Well, I was going to say false because I'm like, I think he's going to play more center than left. And I'm like, not because I don't think Stephen Kwan can't play center. It's a harder position. But I was like, the competition for Gold Glove in center field is immense. Like, it's a lot harder than left field. So I thought maybe he wouldn't get it there. But you know what? We know this is a reputation-based award, right?
Rafael Palmeiro says, what do you mean?
Yeah, that one game that he played at first base in 1999, absolutely. So I think you're right. The utility piece could be where it happens. All right. The Guardians' breakout player of 2026 will be.
This is the hardest question to me. It honestly is. There's so many potential players. There's so many guys who stand out. It's also like, is someone a breakout if we're already counting on big things from them? Like, can I count Bo Naylor? He has looked good. Do I want to get my heart broken again by Bo Naylor? I kind of struggle with who it's going to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to give it to Parker Messick because I think he might end up being the guy who by the end of the year, like if they need, I know everyone is excited for Slade. I know everyone, in the comments, a lot of our everydayers and insiders commented about how, he's one of the pitchers who's like third on their list. But like, I think if they make the postseason, that Slade is on the outside looking in because lefties are more dangerous to have. I think Messick and Cantillo will be fighting for that third slot with the other one being the fourth starter in the postseason. So I'm going to go with Messick. I think he's going to step up this year and really surprise. And maybe here's my wildest take. He'll get more rookie of the year votes than Bazzana due to Bazzana's late arrival.
Interesting. Okay. All right. I'm going to say Joey Cantillo. I'll also say a pitcher because I feel like DeLauter and Bazzana would be, or even Bo Naylor, because if people really think that's going to happen finally, which we've been waiting for.
Catchers take longer. I'll say that. In fairness to Bo, catchers always take longer.
They do, but I'll say Joey Cantillo. I think if he throws 150 innings, which again would be predicting a lot of health for him, like it is for DeLauter, but I think he can be really good if he's that healthy. Biggest disappointment for the Guardians in 2026 will be.
So I think he's going to have a solid year, but I think it's going to be Chase DeLauter because, I'm seeing everyone put up like how good he was in spring and show the StatCast data. I saw like you do it. I saw TJ Stats do it. Like, I think a lot of people are counting on Chase DeLauter to be like a 30 home run guy this year. And
40, I said, right?
At the pace you're saying, if he was able to stay healthy, it's like, don't get me wrong. I think he's going to be an above average regular. I think he's going to be someone who's going to fit really nicely in that 2-hole. I think he could be like a solid 110, maybe 115 WRC plus guy. But I feel like a lot of people are predicting him to be a hair shy of Jose. A lot of people are predicting like all-stars and things like that. Like there's a lot of super high production put on him. The expectation of him is to be a star, right? The expectation is when he is healthy, he is going to be a force in that lineup. And it's not to say he can't be a huge improvement and a huge impact, but I'm not willing to put him in the, MVP all-star competition yet.
Fair enough. I will say that the biggest disappointment is going to be David Fry. I think everyone's expecting him to be a lefty masher, and I think he'll have some good moments this year. It'll certainly be better to have him around hitting against lefties and doing those sorts of things, but I just don't think he's going to get that.
I was tempted with Martinez because I just as a side note, it's like so many people like to compare Angel Martinez to José Ramírez. It's like, guys, Angel Martinez chases as bad as Gabby Arias. Like Jose never chased. Like they are not it is apples and oranges. That comp is one that is just there's no comp for it unless you're just doing it because of where they're from and what they hit.
I've got a million questions left, so this will be interesting to see how far we can get into this. How many all-stars and who, Jeff? I'm going to say very quickly Cade Smith and José Ramírez are all-stars.
I'm going to say those two and Kwan because Kwan always is a first half guy.
Okay, fair enough. Speaking of José Ramírez, Jeff, 285 homers, 287 steals, 949 RBIs. When does he get to 300, 300, and 1,000?
I'm terrible at these, so I'm just gonna. This is my pass. This is the one I leave blank on the sheet.
Right, I'll just say June. Say June.
Okay.
All right. Let's continue to rapid fire on the way out. Stephen Vogt's Manager of the Year award streak will end at 2 years in a row. True or false?
True. It doesn't matter. Wait, they can go 162-0, and they're not voting him again.
I think they go 162-0. You have to vote him, but
nope, he somehow still doesn't win because there's a plucky underdog team that makes a wild card. Like, that's what matters. It's about expectation.
I know. All right. Let's move over to. I'm sorry. Let's get to Bo Naylor real quick. Bo Naylor, just real quickly. Over under 100 WRC plus.
Under.
I'm going to go under too, but I think it'll be close.
No, I mean a 90. Was it like 91 was league average? I think a catcher a year ago. If he's like a league average catcher, then that's a success.
Correct. Rhys Hoskins, does he last the full season? If yes, how many home runs? If no, when is he gone by?
I think he does. I mean, his worst season, he was league average. I think he is a player that should last because, I mean, he fits multiple needs with being a right-handed bat and being a steady bat. Just comes down to he's another guy with some health concerns over his career. See, he's kind of last year, he's down to 12. Let's say he's the 20 home run guy you talked about earlier. Let's say 22.
All right, I said 23, so we're good there. All right, very quickly, let's wrap.
Well, remember, because of all of our ads, we should really probably aim closer to 36 minutes.
All right, let's do it. I got plenty of questions.
You got questions. We don't have to rush too much.
All right, rotation leaders. Let's go one by one. Leader in WAR from the rotation. F4.
I'll go Tanner.
I agree, Tanner. Innings pitched leader.
Tanner.
Okay, I agree with you. And then while we're on that subject, lower ERA, Tanner or Gavin?
I'll go Gavin with this one just because he had it a year ago. And, I feel like Gavin's got more the ceiling and Tanner is more the workhorse.
Fair enough. I'll go Tanner just because I think he's really motivated to have a really good season this year. I think he needs to get it. He knows he wants to get it done. The Guardians last year, rotation ERA, actually, I don't know what it is. The Guardians will finish where in the ERA rotation-wise?
Seventh and eighth were the two numbers that popped in my head. So I'll go positive and say 7.
Okay. I'm just going to say 10. I just think it's going to be hard because Cantillo's health, Messick being a rookie, Ciccone, might have some pains the second year based off of last season.
Sorry.
Real quickly, then again, Cade Smith, over or under 40 saves?
Ooh, I'm going to say under. Like, as a team, they had 43 saves a year ago. Actually, that's not true. That was just Smith, Clase, and Gaddis were 43. They had a bunch of what looks like another 4 scattered around. So they had 47 as a team. And that was with that crazy finish. So
they had 53 in 2024.
53, and then last year was 47. And there's always those junk saves. Like, there's a few of those, that just kind of pop. So, I mean, I'm going to say he's like high 30s. Like, I think that's a really good over-under line. Like, that's a really good separation point for that. But I'm going to guess like 38, 39.
I'm going to go 40. I think Cade will get 40, and I think you can count on like 4 or 5 from like Armstrong and somebody else. So I'll say over on that one. Speaking of the bullpen, Guardians bullpen ERA in 2025, 3.44. In 2024, 2.57. That landed him third and first in ERA the last 2 seasons. Where will the bullpen finish in team ERA? You don't have to give a number, but just give a ranking.
Oh, I was going to say like 3.58. Like, it's going to be worse than last year. They're just counting on a lot of guys. Like, I'm intrigued by Heron, but it was a rough year for him. There, Brogdon was not great with I get a lot of guys have looked good, but it's like we entered last season with a lot more dependability, and this year it's like Cade Smith and even like I'm a big Sean Armstrong believer, but like last year was a breakout year for him for a guy in his 30s. Like we got to expect some degree of regression there, and then the rest of the team, Gaddis is hurt and everything else. So I think maybe somewhere instead of being first, like 10th.
I said 6th. I'll say 6. That's still lower than where they were the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's still pretty good. Like 6 or 10. 6 or 10th would still be really good, by the way. That still means you're a really good bullpen. It's just they've been historically good the last 2 years. All right, this will be a fun one for everybody to comment on. Daniel Espino makes his debut in 2026. True or false? If not, why? And if yes, when?
True, because he gets a bionic arm, like the game Bionic Commando. And he just shoot it out for it. No, I think he debuts. He's already on the 40-man. This is his last option year, right? Like, I mean, he could only get the one bonus, I assume. Or
they can get one back. I don't know if they've already gotten the one bonus back.
I thought this year was the one back, but that could be wrong. That's probably wrong. You're probably right. I didn't hear anything about that. So they can probably get one more year.
Andrew Kinsman will let us know.
Good old Fever Dog. He definitely will know for sure. I think this was his last year, so I bet they would get one more option year. But yeah, I think we see him at some point. I think I would expect late in the year. Like, I think he's that perfect guy to bring up. Like, he's already on the 40-man roster, so it doesn't matter when he debuts. He could pitch in the postseason and, be a weapon, like, especially for teams who haven't seen him. Like, you almost don't want him to get as much exposure. Like, he's the perfect guy for maybe first week of August, second week of August, come out, get some warm-ups if he's healthy, and then just be like a weapon for the postseason.
I would love to see him come up like the last week of August, right before September. So, yeah, that's what I got too. All right. In 2026, Jeff, the AL Central belongs to who, and the Guardians will finish where?
Tigers. I know people won't love that, but like, I mean, it's just looking at it face value, and like, they've got some really interesting players, and they added to that core. Their bullpen is still shaky though, so I'm not going to say that it is locked up or anything like that. As we saw a year ago, that's far from the case. And that I think that is a team that's going to look to add relievers as the season goes on. Cleveland, I think it's gonna be a dogfight for second, but I think they'll finish second. Even though I saw today, what Petco or some projections had Cleveland with the 6th worst record in baseball and had them having less wins than the Twins. The Twins? Yeah. Are you kidding me? No. The Twins just had Zach Kent make the team. I mean, the Cubs just added Scott Kingery, Michael Conforto, and Dylan Carlson. So many teams get beat up. It's like, I mean, I expect the Cubs to have a great year. Don't get me wrong, but the Twins? Nah.
The Twins. That won't feel the fire at all between these two fan bases.
I mean, Lopez is hurt on top of their sell-off. Like,
and they might trade Joe Ryan. Who knows? Yeah. All right, one last question to get us out of here. In 2026, just finish the sentence. 2026, the Guardians will
be very fun to watch because of all these young players finally starting to get to the big leagues.
I am going to agree with that statement. I'm going to say they are going to have another second half run that you're not going to want to miss.
Fair. We've run long already, so tomorrow will be a solo show for me, and then Justin will have you on opening day. We'll talk about any of the news that comes and develops over the course of tomorrow. Thank you all for joining us, and go Guardians, go.